I knew this trade wasn't that much of a needle mover because I'm like, okay, you added James Harden, but the problem still remains. James Harden, he doesn't show up in clutch time. He's prone to quit. He's prone to give low effort on the defensive end, and he's a ball dominant player. That is just not a good recipe. And then you have Russ on the team too. Grant, he comes off the bench, but eventually you're going to have to. It may have to be a lineup with Russ and Harden on the floor, and that's just good grief.
Play the song with your heart. Play the song with your heart.
At one time. What is good, YouTube? This is your boy Aaron.
It's Brian.
And this is the Courtside You podcast. And we are back today to discuss week 3 of the NBA season. And off rip, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, and that's the Los Angeles Clippers. They traded for James Harden. Monday, James Harden made his debut against the Knicks. They are currently 0-3 with James Harden in the lineup. And it is not pretty. Brian, let me tell you something, man. I'm looking at this right now. I'm looking at the stats real quick. I'm just being objective. This is just facts. I'm looking at the losses, right? First of all, when they made the trade, they lost to the Lakers. This is even without James Harden. Okay, they play the Knicks. James Harden's debut. They get annihilated by the Knicks, 111-97. They lose to Brooklyn. Cam Thomas had to leave during that game because of an injury. So you lose with Cam Thomas barely playing in the game, and then you lose to Dallas last night, and Luka Doncic, he was killing them. I was watching that game, bro. It was so funny because they were up by like 12 points in the first quarter, and then all of a sudden, that second quarter rolls around, and they couldn't score no more. They were having so much trouble trying to score. It was just your turn, my turn. Russell Westbrook, here, go do something. Russell Westbrook jacking up shots. James Harden trying to do his tween step back jump shot. Paul George was just a no-show again. Where's P? Where's P? You know what I mean? And then Kawhi, he's just doing whatever it is. Let me look at that box score real quick because I know it wasn't pretty at all. I know halftime, I think Paul George had like 0 points, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look at this box. Let me look at this box score. Yeah, we getting right into it. Let me see here. Well, this was like their first tournament game too. I think it is. So let me see.
I believe so.
So Paul George had 8 points. Kawhi Leonard, okay, he had 26. That's not bad. James Harden had 14 on 3-6 shooting. Russell Westbrook had 14 on 5-for-11 shooting. Bones Highland had 17. Terrence Mann had 11. Norman Powell had a donut. Zubac. That's another thing. I'm seeing a lot of Clippers fans turn on Zubac.
I don't know who else they gonna play. I mean, what are they saying about him?
So it was like a clip going around where it was like a bunch of possessions where he wasn't able to get the rebound. Like the team was getting a bunch of offensive rebounds and he wasn't able to get the rebound and stuff like that. And so a lot of Clippers fans are criticizing him and stuff. And I just find it very interesting because Zubac, he was one of the Clippers fans' favorite players. Like they loved Zubac. And the fact that now they're turning on him, it's getting bad for Clippers fans. If that's how it's going, one of the fans' favorites, if that's how you guys are gonna do the players now, then oh my gosh, it's about to get ugly. They want Tyronn Lue fired. Like what?
They've been trying to get him out of here since last season.
Oh my gosh, like they acting like Tyronn Lue is a bum. It's getting spooky out here.
Yeah, man.
How you feel about the Clippers struggles?
I mean, we foresaw this. I mean, people was hyping up that Harden trade, and I was like, it's James Harden. At the end of the day, it's James Harden. Like it's getting bad, man. people in the group chat was like, "I don't know, you see James Harden." I'm like, this isn't 2K. This is real life basketball. I keep telling the super team era is over. You can't just put stars together and expect them to go out there and win a bunch of games. Now, this will probably look foolish if they end up going on a mean run, but I don't care because we're talking about the now. We ain't got to worry about the future. So I knew this trade wasn't that much of a needle mover because I'm like, okay, you added James Harden, but the problem still remains. James Harden, he doesn't show up in the in clutch time. He's prone to quit. He's prone to give low effort on the defensive end, and he's a ball dominant player. That is just not a good recipe. And then you have Russ on the team too. Granted, he comes off the bench, but eventually you're going to have to. It may have to be a lineup with Russ and Harden on the floor, and that's just good grief. We see how that worked back in the pandemic, back in the bubble. And then you got Paul George, who's prone to just not show up. Sometimes he's a superstar, and then sometimes he's Paul George. And then Kawhi Leonard's just like, yeah, I'm just here. I'm doing my thing. But like I don't know, that's such a weird roster construction. Steve Ball, I mean, I don't blame. Is Jerry West the GM?
No, he's not the GM. He's a consultant.
Okay, whoever the GM is, I forgot the name.
Lawrence Frank, I
But
think.
yeah, Lawrence Frank. I mean, I don't fault him for trying to get talent on the team, but you gave away your wing depth, and then which is super essential in this league. And you just, I don't know. This is just not this experiment.
It's
And
not
who knows
Pete.
when James Harden's going? Yeah, and who knows when James Harden going to end up quitting on them?
Yeah, right.
So yeah, that was just
Not a smart trade, huh? I have to say, first of all, Russell Westbrook is actually starting with James Harden, and that's one of the biggest problems why they're losing is because
he is.
yes, he's starting with James Harden, Paul George, and Kawhi and Zubac. That's one of the reasons why they're losing is because they have all those players starting at once, and there's no balance on offense at all. Paul George is struggling, and it just seems like in order for each player to be effective, they're gonna need the ball in their hands. Like they can't just stand in the corner and then expect for somebody to give them the ball and then they're gonna make a shot. Like that's just not who they are. And so I said this before James Harden even played a game. I just didn't see it. There's too many scores, not a lot of guys, not a lot of 3-and-D dudes, not a lot of people that can play without the basketball. You're going to have to make a trade. You're probably going to have to give up Norman Powell because at the end of the day, there's only so many guys that can have the ball in their hands and score. And fact remains is that, yeah, you gave up your wing depth, albeit those players were out of their prime per se. But again, it's wing depth at the end of the day. And you gave up like maybe I think it was 2 or 3 first round picks and then some second round picks as well. So you gave up a lot of capital to get PJ Tucker, who's 38 years old, and James Harden, who's not in his prime anymore, to try to win a championship. And it's a ceiling move, like you said. They're trying to do whatever it may be to win a championship, but maybe that was just not the right move to make for that specific team. Maybe that was the wrong trade. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of NFL fantasy when somebody makes a move early in the season when you're like 2-2, 3-1 because you believe, oh, if I make this move, my team will be the best. But are you sure? Like, I mean, you have enough players already where you'll be in contention. Maybe you should wait it out.
Guilty.
Maybe you should guilty. I mean, this is not me a subliminal shot at you. I'm just saying,
I
like,
know. I know. I'm just saying.
maybe,
I can relate, but
maybe
I still rise. I still rise.
we still rise, right. But maybe you should just wait it out because they were 3-1 before the Lakers game, and the fact that they just decided we got to pull the trigger. I don't understand that, especially I get James Harden wanted to go to the team, but just because a player wants to go to the team doesn't mean you have to abide by their wishes. You know,
That is true.
and what was the play? Was Russell Westbrook, was Paul George, and Kawhi campaigning? I doubt Kawhi was campaigning, but was those other players campaigning for him to come to the team? Maybe, but I just think that they're pretty much gambling. They pretty much put all their chips in the table, in the middle of the table, and they're like, watch this, and they're hoping that they get lucky, and they get a lucky number 7. And so far, they're not lucky at all. It's just, it looks very bad. And Luka Doncic, he was cooking them. He was looking like Larry Bird. He was looking like every all-time great out there against the Clippers last night. And I don't see how it's going to be fixed.
Yeah, it's very very tough situation for them because it's just man, you gave up all of that and you 0-3 since
Mm-hmm.
the trade. It's like where do we go from here? And I'll tell you where you go from here. Where you belong for trading for James Harden in 2023, expected him to help your team get over the hump into a championship.
Uh-huh. It is early, and I will say it is early. And I remember when the Brooklyn Nets, they were dealing with some of the same struggles when it came to Kevin Durant, Kyrie, and James Harden when they acquired James Harden initially. They were dealing with some struggles defensively, and they were losing some games. So it is early. I will say that, but so far it just doesn't look fixable. And
You know what's even funnier?
yeah,
Look at the 76ers and what they're doing.
7-1.
Yeah.
They haven't lost,
Doc
man.
Rivers, you will not have a job in this league ever again, probably. Because ain't no way the team fire you and they start the season off 7-1.
Right. And they have
And
draft
they lose
capital.
a board an all-star caliber player. So Doc Rivers, the league saying your watch fake. I ain't said, I'm just saying the league said it. That's
Mhm.
what I heard.
You know what this reminds me of? Well, I wouldn't say it reminds me like exactly how it was. Remember when the Nationals traded I don't think they traded him away, but when they didn't resign Bryce Harper and let him go.
And then
And
let Dusty go.
yeah,
And
let
then
him go, and
2 years
then
later we were in yeah.
it was actually the next year.
Yeah,
It was the next season.
it was the next year.
Yeah, it was actually next
Really?
season. Yeah, remember because
I thought we
we
let go of Dusty in 17 and Bryce in 17. He went to the Phillies.
I
Then we had
could
1 year we was okay, and then 19 was when we won.
Well, either or. If it was in 2 years, either or. My the
No, you was
similarity,
right. You was
the
right.
analogy remains because I remember
Because
Juan Soto. That
because
was his rookie year.
Juan and Bryce did play a year together, and then
Yeah,
the year after we let Bryce go, we okay. You
yeah.
right.
We
You right.
won. We won the chip. So this is where my
Yeah.
analogy comes in because I remember specifically. Okay, the Nationals got rid of Bryce. They got rid of Dusty, and then all of a sudden we bring in a new manager, and then everybody we start winning.
Yeah.
Juan Soto, he
Yeah.
breaks out
I give
into
you
a star.
give you your props on that because I remember we was in school. You was saying, "Man, we got Juan Soto. We gonna be all right." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." And lo and
It,
behold, hey, I give you props on that one.
I'm not even a baseball guy. And I was like, hey man, listen, Bryce is a playoff choker. Now he's him. He's him. But when he was with the Nationals, just like with James Harden, he was a playoff choker. We got rid of his ass, and all of a sudden, yo, we got a championship, like World Series championship. Like what? And that's first time in Nationals history. That's crazy. But anywho, I bring that point up because at the end, listen, we always talk about, oh, you need stars, you need stars. Well, you need continuity, you need chemistry, you need the right pieces around you. You need guys to like each other. Not in that
You
sense, but in
can't
terms
build
of
a roster based on aura. This isn't NBA Twitter.
this is an NBA 2K.
Can't they build an aura rosters? What happened to the game that I love?
It's getting replaced by a bunch of hot takes, a bunch of people asking, players to leave. like what they did with Dame. So I just think that I'm glad the 76ers are winning. It just shows that number one, when you're smart, when you have the right pieces around you, when you have a good head coach that knows what he's doing, guess what? You're going to win games. And I'm glad I like seeing Tyrese Maxey sort of start elevating his game to another level. He's been outstanding. Joel Embiid, he's
Right.
been outstanding. I think the question remains is okay, are they going to get better or are they going to stay the same as they were when they had James Harden? And I think for me, I thought that once James Harden was gone, I believe that this team will stay the same, which is not bad actually in hindsight, because if they stay the same, I mean they're gonna make the second round. They took the Boston Celtics to 7 games, which is
Sure.
a solid accomplishment in itself. And all you have to do is just add one more player that fits Philly, maybe an all-star caliber player, maybe a fringe all-star, and they are in business because they're a really good team.
Yeah, so far they've been really playing good. They've been beating teams. They beat the Celtics, so and that's one of
Mhm.
the top dogs in the Eastern Conference. So yeah, man, they got some. They got some there. I think they may try to buy at the deadline though. Just to you can never have too many guys. So
They're
so I
definitely
think
going to buy
they might be one more piece. I think they need one more solid piece
Zach
because I can't
Levine.
rely on Tobias Harris in the freaking playoffs.
Zach Levine,
Can't
I'm
do it.
telling you, Zach Levine, watch
But
out.
is the Bulls really going to trade him to an Eastern Conference? Really?
Absolutely. As
Mm.
long I would say
They could
it's
could
not the
flip those
NFL.
picks for him.
It's not the NFL in this respect when it comes to division games matter, because the NBA back in the
No,
day,
I just meant because the Bulls probably think they can compete, and it's not they shouldn't think that, but
that's
they probably think they can compete, and they maybe don't want to give the 76ers any more help to beat them in a possible playoff matchup.
well, you said the deadline, right? And if they're going
Nope,
to be
that is true.
sellers, if they're going to be sellers by the deadline, then ultimately they must have a bad record, and that's what I think is going to happen. They're going to have a bad record, and the smart thing to do would sell, because the way their team is structured, they're not a good team. And for me, I would think that they would try to trade Levine, possibly even trade DeRozan, try to get some picks from that. So since Philly has
Caruso probably
picks,
going to be on the block too.
oh yeah, for sure. Like he's gonna demand like,
That's actually would be a good fit for Philly Caruso.
yeah, but they need another bucket getter though.
They can
Because
get that too.
I like Tyrese Maxey, but I feel like him as the third option is perfect. I don't want Tyrese
Mm-hmm.
Maxey as my second option. I don't think he's necessarily ready yet to be that bona fide second option for a championship caliber team. Now, if you get like a Zach Levine, an all-star caliber player like that can get you 20, 25 on a given night, I'm telling you, Philly will be dangerous. They just need somebody that's reliable that could get to 2025, and that's it. And Zach Levine, the good thing about Zach Levine is that yes, he needs the ball in his hands sometimes, but he can score without the basketball. He can shoot the basketball. I've seen him do it all the time. Is he the best player ever? Does he get criticism sometimes? Like, oh, like not having much effect to the final scoreboard? Absolutely. But some of that has to do with, okay, who are the players around him? And I remember one player where he was criticized for that, and that was Devin Booker. Remember Devin Booker back in the day when he started off his first, I think, 3-4 years? The Suns were an atrocity. But then guess
Yep.
what? You trade for Chris Paul, you draft DeAndre Ayton, you get Mikal Bridges, and guess what? Devin Booker is arguably the best shooting guard in the NBA right now and is a top 10 player. And people put respect on his name. So that's what I think Zach Levine, if he goes to a contender, people are gonna put respect on his name because he has so much talent and so much ability. It's just about doing it on a winning team. And I want Man, I would love Zach LaVine on the Lakers, but I just don't see that happening. But I
How
feel
much
like,
help does LeBron
come
need?
on, man. Come on, bro. Come on,
Y'all
man.
beat the Suns yesterday, man. Y'all good. Y'all don't need no help.
Man.
Cam Reddish at 17.
Speaking of the Lakers, okay, good transition. The Lakers beat the Suns yesterday. I will say this: LeBron, he looked very comfortable. Probably his best
Because the
game.
Suns ain't got no daggone defense.
This was his best game by far from just and the reason why it was his best game is because he was able to do what he always has done his entire career, and that is play point guard. The coaching staff wants to limit the amount of time that LeBron has to orchestrate the offense and stuff like that. Listen, this team is not able to orchestrate the offense to set up LeBron. It's just that we're just not capable of doing that. I'm sorry. Just look at the point differential when LeBron is on the court versus off the court. It is not sustainable. And so, what did we do this game? We put Cam Reddish in the starting lineup, which was a bit iffy. I'm not going to lie. And we put Reeves off the bench. And that opened up so much for just LeBron and also for Reeves, because Reeves, he could play a lot freer. He doesn't have to worry about, I got to give D'Angelo Russell some touches. I have to give LeBron some touch. Like he could just be himself, and he was free and he was comfortable and he was hitting some clutch shots. He could still come in crunch time and be effective. And that's what he did. He was hitting so many clutch shots after clutch shots. I was like, damn, this is the Austin Reeves I remember. And that's what his role is. I feel like we some people, not me, but some people put so many expectations on Austin Reeves. Oh, he's the next star for the Lakers, all-star. Like, no, he's not. He's a good player. He will be a quality player who can start in the event that we have injuries. He's a great six man. That's what he is. He's a great six man,
Yeah.
6 man of the year type of dude who will come in instant offense, and you could play him in crunch time. He could play a little bit of defense, and he'll give you some clutch buckets down the stretch. But when it comes to
The white Lou Will.
the white Lou Will, pretty much. But when it comes to putting him in a starting lineup with like D'Lo, with Taurean Prince and LeBron and AD, that's just not gonna work, because there's too many guys that need the ball. There's too, like, D'Lo, he's not a facilitator. We thought he was coming out of college, but he's not. He's a scorer. He's a scoring guard. And Austin Reeves is a scoring guard. So having those two sort of bump heads, it's not going to work. And you want LeBron be the primary ball handler because it's LeBron James and he's the smartest player in the NBA, and he's been doing this his entire career. And that's why we won. I'm still not very confident in this team, because listening what Rachel Nichols said, former ESPN, who's now on Fox Sports 1, she talked about how the Lakers before last night's game, they were the worst first quarter scoring team in NBA history. That's how bad it was. We were able to get it together. Luckily, the Suns didn't have Devin Booker. We'll get to the Suns in a minute, but I just want to keep with the Lakers side of things, and then I'll get your thoughts on the Lakers as well. But Anthony Davis got outplayed by Nurkic. I said this last week, and I'm going to say it again. This is why I said the Lakers need another star, because Anthony Davis, he wants to be Kevin Garnett from the Celtics. Get you 15 to 18 points, play good defense, get you a couple rebounds, get you about 9 to 10 rebounds, get you a few blocks, maybe a steal or two. That's what he wants to be. He doesn't want to be 30 points per game, 25 points per game, 15 rebounds. He doesn't want to be Joel Embiid. He doesn't want to be Nikola Jokic. He wants to be the Celtics' Kevin Garnett, who was a great player, but he wasn't a go-to guy. And see, that's the problem that resides with this team, is that you can't rely on Anthony Davis' scoring from a nightly basis. And also his rebounding can be a bit iffy as well. He had about 10 or 11 last night, which is good. But at the end of the day, he was still getting outplayed at the end. And so Anthony Davis is still a big question mark. He is battling a injury, but at the same time, so is everybody else. So I don't want to hear that excuse. Joel Embiid is documented. Jokic, he's an Iron Man for whatever reason. Like the dude be chubby as hell, but he's still playing every freaking game, which is absolutely absurd.
Probably
That
because
that
his play style. He ain't
yeah,
really jumping out the gym or nothing like that. So,
right. You're absolutely right, but it still can be very taxing because when you're playing an 82 game season and you're traveling all this time playing back to backs, dude, go to a park or go to like a rec or whatever and just play basketball for 4 hours and you're gonna be sore. You're gonna be
oh
like,
yeah,
damn, I don't even want to do anything after this. And so they're doing that 82 nights a year. And for him to like be able to play 70 games, play 85% of his games is a testament to just his greatness and his work ethic. It really is. And I salute Jokic. But anywho, back to the Lakers. Just your thought process on the Lakers this past week and so far the NBA season.
the Lakers are kind of doing what I expected them to do out the gate, which
Mm-hmm.
was look sloppy,
Mm-hmm.
have questionable lineups out there.
Mm-hmm.
Darvin Ham sitting on the sideline with his hand in his pocket, like he's just observing the game instead of coaching. But yeah, I didn't expect y'all to go like crazy in the beginning of the season. I was like, it's still a newer team, so you really have to gel those guys together. I like the moves that y'all made in the off season, but you look at the roster, it's still kind of like just from a names perspective, it's like and then you can't really the bench isn't very deep. Anthony Davis is he's like a part-time hooper at this point because he shows up some days, doesn't show up any other night. So it's still LeBron or bust, which is a shame because he's 38 years old and in year 21. But yeah, I still think it's the Nuggets and then everybody else, and that's including the entire league
Mm-hmm.
because you see they lost Jamal Murray and they haven't missed a step.
Right,
They're
right.
winning minutes with Jokic off the floor,
Yeah,
and
that's
that is insane. So
mm-hmm.
yeah, man, it's still a gap between every other team in the West, even the East, and the Nuggets. The Nuggets are just a complete team. Their young guys are stepping up to play. They have plenty of depth and guys that know their role, play it well, and just it's going to be hard for the Lakers or any other team to really stack up against that in the playoffs for 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
Because more than likely the Nuggets will have the 1 seed unless some catastrophic injury happens to Jokic. Yeah, the Nuggets, y'all got to Lakers, y'all got to figure something out. Y'all winning games, but it ain't pretty.
No, it's not pretty.
It's kind of how like the Vikings were winning games last year,
Uh,
and people was like, "Oh, they fraudulent." And then playoffs happen, and look, I don't want. I kind of do want that for the Lakers,
mm-hmm.
but but yeah, y'all got to figure something out. I don't know if it's coaching exactly. I see some people calling for Darvin Ham's job, which is interesting. People don't like your rookie. The fan base is turning on rookie. I don't even know his name. They just call him JHS. I don't even know his full name.
Yeah.
But yeah, y'all got some issues over there in Lakerland
Mm-hmm.
at
I
the Lake
got you.
Show.
No, you're absolutely right. I'll say this: once we get healthy, then I could get like more of a fair assessment because we're dealing with a lot of injuries right now, and that has sort of hurt us a lot. I will say that because beginning of the season, you want to build chemistry, you want to build a lot of continuity, and when you're a bunch of your guys are injured, then it's going to be very hard, especially when it comes to like a guy like Gabe Vincent that you paid a bunch of money and you expected a lot from him, right? Because he's going to fill that
Oh
Dennis
yeah,
Schroeder
he's
role.
terrible.
Yeah, he was terrible our first 2 games, but then he gets injured. He's out 2 weeks. Um, what's his name? Jared Vanderbilt as well. He was another key player for us in the playoffs last year. He gets hurt beginning of the season. He didn't even play a game, and we're still waiting for him. So that's another player. So we still have to see more. I'm not gonna push the alarm right now when it comes to we got to make a trade right now or else the season is over. I'll I think right now what it comes down to is, okay, Darvin Ham needs to figure out what lineup works best with this team. What lineups work
Sure.
best? What players should start? What players should come off the bench? And then once we figure that out, then I think we'll be good because I think, and another thing, the system. What type of system are you going to run? Are you going to have LeBron as the primary ball handler like they were in 2020? How is that going to work? Because it seems like to me that when LeBron is not the primary ball handler, they struggle a lot. I don't want D'Angelo Russell being the primary ball handler like that because that's just whatever reason he's just not comfortable doing that. He's a scorer at the end of the day, and that to me is what his role should be. He should be a scorer. He should be somebody that should be creating his own shot. And Anthony Davis, unfortunately, we can't rely on him too much, but at the end of the day, he has to be a scoring option as well, and he has to do the dirty work when it comes to rebounding, blocking shots, getting steals, and that nature. So once we figure all that out, I think it's an internal thing. I think it's something where it can be fixed overall. It's just a matter of, okay, how long is it going to take for us to finally find an answer? And last game was a good sign for things to come, albeit it is the Suns and they are struggling and they don't have Devin Booker. They're not fully healthy. I don't think they're ever going to be fully healthy. Bradley Beal didn't play too terrible. I think he had like 24 points. But anywho,
Yes, he played well. He played
yeah,
well.
he played pretty
For his
well.
first game back or so.
I think it may have been the second game back. I think it was.
Second,
Yeah,
he
second
played
game
pretty
back.
well.
So he didn't play too bad. But overall, it's going to take time. Beginning of the season. Glad it's beginning of the season and get this out the way and not have to deal with this in the middle like the past few years we've sort of dealt with Russell Westbrook, and then obviously with the trades that came down after getting rid of Russell Westbrook. So I'm glad that we're able to deal with this stuff now and it doesn't become an issue by January, by February, and then the season's over. So that's the good sign. I just wanted to bring up real quick, wanted to shout out the Timberwolves. I think they're like 5-2 right now. They've been
Six
playing
and two.
six and two. They've been playing really good basketball. And so I just wanted to shout him out. Anthony Edwards, he's been phenomenal, been one of the best players in the NBA. He locked up Jason Tatum. That one clip went viral and everything like that. So I just wanted to shout out the Minnesota Timberwolves. How do you feel about the Minnesota Timberwolves real quick?
They've been playing some good ball, man. They gave the Nuggets a loss. They actually blew them out. So yeah, man, the Timberwolves they looking like something right now. So it's a cool thing to see, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
I haven't been able to watch any of the games really because they don't really come on over here,
Right,
and
right.
they play. Sometimes they play late, sometimes they don't. It's just kind of, I haven't really gotten a chance to watch them.
I feel you. Me too. I wasn't able to watch them as well, but I know what's going on. I just wanted to just tell them just how good they've been. Dallas Mavericks as well. They're 7-2. They're playing really good basketball. Defensively, they've been a lot better than they were last year. The addition of Derek Lively and some other pieces have really sort of made life easier for Luka Doncic. So that's really good. But again, it is the beginning of the season, so we never know how things are going to turn out by January, by February. But so far, it looks really good. And then also Houston, they've won 5 straight so far. So you got to give them credit as well. They're 5-3. Ime Udoka seems like he's really getting the best out of his group. Although at the beginning of the season, I was a bit skeptical because I didn't think that the combination of like Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks with these young guys is going to sort of gel well. But so far, so good. And they beat my Lakers by like
Dylan
34
Brooks is
points.
averaging like 16 points a game
I mean, that's
on good
about
efficiency.
wow. Yeah, that's very surprising, right? And I remember when he was in Oregon, he was getting buckets. And so last year was kind of a shock to me because I just remember him like coming out of the league. He was a bucket getter, and for him to like be shooting that terribly was kind of surprising. But yeah, shout out to the Houston Rockets. Shout out to the Warriors. They're 6-3. OKC's 5-4 right now, and yeah, Milwaukee they're 5-3. Y'all are still sort of getting things together when it comes to Dame, when it comes to the defense. You guys lost to what was the team you guys lost to that Giannis put up like 50 something on?
That was the Pacers, I believe.
The Pacers. Okay. And the Pacers, they're actually playing good. They're like 6-3 right now. Not the worst loss in the world, but having Giannis score 50 and still lose is not a good look.
Yeah. Not a good look at all.
Yeah. All right. So I think that'll Boston 6-2. They're playing really good basketball. But yeah, I think that'll do it for the NBA side of things.
Look, cold world, still a cold world. And a couple of y'all is cool, but we a little more thorough. Whole time, a little more girls. You know I spit that sick shit and it's still no cure. Hold up, loud